Leoncavallo Milano. Okay, the first one, I don't know if you already know it, is Carl Middleton. There, okay. Nice to see you. Okay, we are sorry we are a little bit late. This year we have a lot of new designer introducing typo. And we have decided to change the way to show the works. And we have decided to use the picture model. I don't know if you already know how it works. It's 20 slides, 20 second slides, so really a few minutes to present a work or something different, a project. Okay, so Carl, are you ready?
Will they automatically change in 20 seconds? Will the slides automatically change?
Yeah, fine. Okay, yeah. I checked that everything was like that. I checked. Okay, very good. Okay, you can use microphone. And
that's my name in a typeface designed by Eric. We can look at that while the next slide appears. That'll be about 18 seconds later. My name's Carl Middleton, and I'm from the United Kingdom. And I didn't vote for Brexit. Just adjust my sock. Oh, there we go. So that's what I am. I do a combination of two things. I'm neat, is a graphic designer business, and I'm Studio B, which is Letterpress. So it's a combination of two sorts of things. I'm interested in Swiss modernism. I went to college here at Sunset College, a lovely brutalist concrete building in what it was. 1970s, early 80s, and it was of an interesting time. A lot of students in England. There was a lot of sort of difficulties. Punk was sort of in its heyday, and I was more interested in that than education. And everybody in education at the time wore flared trousers, and I wore very tight trousers. So there was conflict. So I left college because I sort of didn't get on with the teaching staff. And that's where I saw sort of Fetty Fractal. So after that, I had another go at education, you know, 10 years later, which was in Cambridge, which was a very conceptual course. So it was graphic arts and history of art, and I produced work which has no commercial value and much more, I suppose, cerebral. Then I had another go at education, so I did a master's degree in typography at London College of Communication, which was London College of Printing, where I did a bit of typeface design with Teal Triggs and Nick Bell, and developed work, again, with no commercial value. So then while I was there, I worked in a commercial practice doing work really for the artist community in London. So like galleries in and around London and artist monographs, and that was a very commercial but very, very limited practice. And thereafter I did a bit of teaching, and there's a list of programs that I've taught at: Royal College of Art, London College of Printing, University of Portsmouth, Cambridge University, and I was head of school eventually back at the college that threw me out when I was 18, when I got thrown out again when I was in my 50s, for being a naughty person. There's a picture of somebody skiing, I think. I'm sorry. We've got a situation breakdown. And if this goes, it's only the 20 seconds. What's this one? Okay. Oh, we're going back. Okay. Oh, that's the teaching. Then I did some exhibition graphics for Tate Britain. That's Thomas Girton. In very poor light, so you can't really see it. But you can log into the gallery, so you can little things. Typefaces. I did those, 300 of those, quite lucrative. There's another one. Art stuff, really. Do that. Stuff you can't see there is it was a very low light exhibition, and the titles we screen printed on the walls in varnish so that you couldn't see them. See them from certain points. I wouldn't suggest you do it. That's an exhibition of photographs of David King. David King's got a big, passed away now. He had a big collection of photographs of Muhammad Ali he took in Mumbai in the 70s, and he needed to make some cash. So that was my venture into website design. I can't stand website design. That's my partner. So work together. She's an architect. I'm a typographer, so we sort of argue a lot. That's our house. Very fairly clean, so working. But she can sit in other positions, but she tends to like sitting like that. That's a project I did. The client said to me, I want you to put a taste, I want you to put something of the landscape, I want you to put blah, 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 a really big long list of things on the cover of this magazine. So I did, I just put them all on, and they liked it, foolishly. And there's an editorial that I chucked together, so that was a little bit of that. Then, suppose, while I was moved away from London, I started my sort of letterpress work. Again, no commercial value. I tend to make it and then put it away or throw it away when it's done, and then make some more work. I find it quite therapeutic, and I tend to do stuff on the computer too much. But strangely enough, via Flickr, I found a community, sort of community of other like-minded, gold-headed people that also liked letterpress, and through that, did a number of exhibitions and did various sort of events and situations, and it sort of ended up here. So this is the work I produce now in my sort of new studio. Finally I've got a huge sold-down proofing press that I make work on. Because I have to wear these glasses, I don't like small type, so I tend to use quite a lot of large wooden type. And I like things that you can't read and have no use. There's some more work. I was given some briglets by, what's his name, because of the pressure of this presentation. A famous poet, Ted Hughes. They're Ted Hughes. And they are the spaces that he used to put between his poems. And this is sort of what inspires me at the moment. So in letterpress, you need words. I tend to find words off the internet or over conversations or lost shopping lists. So that's where I make my work. That was a lovely card from my dentist, so I set that. I was quite interested in that. And this is a little bit of the work that I do. I'm working on a graphic novel at the moment. I read the details, it's absolute filth. But it's quite an interesting project. I've been working with a writer and 4 illustrators for the last 2 years, generating that. I also design typefaces, so this is a typeface I've designed, brand that I'm working with. Very legible, but sort of comfortable and playful, and I sort of like it. I really don't care if anybody else does. And this is my studio, so it's sort of there, and it's absolute chaos. But I quite like that. I like having to step over things to get to other things because it's sort of more of a challenge. I like the idea of that. I don't really like an easy existence. It's more of a situationalist approach to life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you, Carl. And the next one is Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson. Okay, Chris. Turn the light off. I can turn off that light if you want, but I don't think that doesn't make a difference. Right, sure. It's better. Yeah, nice.
So that's my name. Not by Eric's. So I'm Chris Wilson. I don't know how I'm quite follow that because I don't have the code. But I'm, as you can see, I'm from the United Kingdom. I'm from England, the north of England, very much north, very near Scotland. So Newcastle upon Tyne. Almost see there. That's on one of the nicer days that we get. It's the view of the River Tyne there. So you've got Newcastle on one side, Gateshead on the other. Obviously, don't like each other, work together, and lots of things that we do as a joint city. And I work in Newcastle, Northumbria University, where I teach graphic design. But for an awful lot of years now, probably about 10, 12 years, I've been in various different print. Over the last 5 years, I've been getting into that press. I don't know that much about it, but I can hopefully make up for that with passion and enthusiasm. So this is the workshop at Northumbria University. Teach a little bit there. A number of presses to SB presses there, quite a bit of type. We're very fortunate to have that because press resources are quite scarce now in the UK and other countries further afield, but students more and more are getting involved with it. And I also bring to my teaching some of the research that I'm doing. We'll talk about that a bit more. This is a polygram, not a letterpress at all, but this is essentially a very stupid robot that you can program, and it takes a pen or a pencil or wherever you put it, and it creates bitmap drawings, but in an analog form. That's something that my research is really interested in, that transition between digital into analog and the surprising things that come from that. This is a book that I produced as a proof of concept when I started my PhD research. This is laser engraving into liner blocks, acrylic, and basically proof of concept. What can you do when you're trying this new technology? Universities spend some money, buy a machine, never use it. I was able to use a £30,000 laser cutter and see what it could do. So I was very lucky there. The result from these things. So this is an experiment looking at reproducing the work of Thomas Buick, who was a wood engraver from the 1800s, lived in near Newcastle. This is me trying it onto plywood and other materials that are relatively cheap and affordable, see what results I could get. High detail without me having any of the skill of a wood engraver. So cheating. Here I've got a list of interviewees that I've been talking to who are all printmakers, letterpress printers, innovators, and my research is looking at post-digital letterpress. So how people are integrating new technology into this traditional process, and how a contemporary form of letterpress is developing, becoming very fashionable at the minute, as you'll all be aware. But how has that happened? What's that as a phenomenon? What's the motivation of people? Here we've got 3D printing test blocks and also laser engraved maple wood. I was very surprised to find that in America, I was reading online that people were not using photopolymer plates to make plastic print blocks, but they were using laser cutters to engrave into maple wood. And that's what I've got here. There's some 8-point italicized Bodoni onto the plank plate of that wood. So the people here that I was very surprised that actually that printed with a lot of accuracy and a lot of detail. So that's something I'm looking into more. This is in London College of Communication a couple of weeks ago. I was able to produce a scaled-up version of a typeface called Super Tipo Velox, which is a modular system of shapes that you can create type and image from. And this was something I made almost a prototype, new typeface with some of the techniques I've been exploring, and we workshopped that with students. What's this? Yes. So this is on form on the press itself. And then that's Christian, who's from Madrid and working there, or he was for a little while, with the poster that was made. The students each made some letter forms themselves with these various components and produced a poster. So I'm very fortunate in that what I'm able to do is my occupation, my recreation, and my research is all around letterpress. So thankfully I don't get bored of it. But I've recently set up my own little workshop, so it's Black Dog Press. Hopefully you can read that as dog, and it also looks a little like a dog, maybe. And then I've got this very dark image, which is the ICOF proof of press that I received earlier this year, across from the Netherlands, with the help of Thomas Gravenmacher, who put me in touch with what was Ben Joostin's press. So I'm completely honoured to have that press, a Dutch printmaker and artist, sculptor. And this is some of my stuff. So there's the Baltic Contemporary Art Centre. This was a book fair there a few weeks ago. It was myself and a friend who made some of these cards.
but there's kind of architectural interests I've got, taking some of the laser engraving and creating images, and also applying that to type, bringing those together to create artworks that communicate. So as a graphic designer, when I've got that hat on, and I step into the Letterpress room, it's very much about communicating ideas and getting concepts and things that hopefully people find interesting across. This is makeup of a form with some of the experimental things. So this is the first typeface that I made. So this is bound of a universe 48 point. It's with veneer method and 5mm acrylic, and then 18mm plywood. And then I was able to print from this. I still have this and print from it, but I learned that I need to get much better with my carpentry skills. So typographically I can do stuff, but when it gets tangible, you have to make things that work. And then this is completely illegible. Is the print from that, which combines the kind of rough aesthetic that comes from my prototype with some lead types and some plants in there. You can see here's a digital version of it. What I'm going to be asking some of my peers is to hopefully be involved with a print exchange that I'm hoping to do over the next 6 months. And I'm really interested in, as I say, post-digital letterpress. So how, in this community, and I'm very grateful to be here, this international community of letterpress printmakers, I can see more and more people that are starting to integrate the new, but also there's the traditional as well. So I'd like to work with the people that are here to gather information on their motivations and why they do things. So yes, thank you very much.
For fighting with technology for hours. That's why I'm taking the microphone. Is it done already? Okay. Jesus from Barcelona, you can join us. Here we go. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. You know, my English is really bad, and I think it would be better for all of them that I explain in Spanish, and yeah, I will translate. Okay. So sorry.
Could we have the double speech? You not exactly 20 seconds, maybe a little bit more. Okay. Are you passing the? Or you want to do it? Maybe you can do it. The only thing is that. As you want. No, it's there, but.
Ya está puesto. Bien. Voy a explicar cómo he llegado hasta aquí.
I'm gonna tell you how I got here.
Y me gusta empezar con esta frase de un impresor granadino, porque mi historia tiene mucho que ver con el olor.
So I like to start with this phrase from an impresor from Granada, because my story is very related with the smell.
You want to do it? Yes, I think you can do better. Okay, you can correct me. That is why I learned something.
Sorry again.
Now you can say exactly, but if not.
¿Puedes traducir?
So without a doubt, the text says, without a doubt, the most valuable heritage a family of printers can lead to its children, smell of press. This is from Francisco de Paula Martínez Vela.
Desde que yo era pequeño, las letras de imprenta me persiguieron.
Since I was a little boy, type was chasing me.
Pero yo era muy hábil y las estuve esquivando durante muchos años.
But I was skillful and I was avoiding them for many years.
Mi padre era impresor.
My father was a printer.
Pero como si hubiera sido cartero.
But he could as well have been a mailman.
Yo recuerdo poco la imprenta en la que trabajaba, pero era algo muy parecido a esto.
He does not remember very much the job, but it was much like.
Cuando era jovencito, cuando era adolescente, yo trabajaba los veranos en la imprenta de mis tíos.
I was a teenager. I used to work in the press of my uncles.
Durante muchos veranos hice muchas cosas en la imprenta y solo una vez hice algo con tipos móviles.
For many summers I was working in that press, but only once I worked with.
Me encargaron tirarlos todos.
I was in charge of throwing all away.
Más adelante, en los años 90, era la época de los primeros Macintosh, todo el mundo estaba flipando con Neville Brody.
Later on, in the early 90s, it was the rise of the Macintosh, and everybody was very excited with Neville Brody.
A mí, en realidad, desde que me enseñaron, desde que me mostraron a este personaje, a un tal Bergman, un impresor holandés.
So when I was first introduced to this Dutch printer, Bergman,
me apasionó su obra, pero a mí me gustaba su obra. En un momento me planteé que eso estaba hecho con tipos móviles.
I felt passionate about his work, but I never considered that it was done with type.
Y 20 años más adelante me ocurrió algo absolutamente inesperado, una especie de epifanía.
20 years later, something unexpected happened, a sort of epiphany.
Por curiosidad entré a un taller y de repente olí el olor de tinta, el olor de papel, el olor de disolvente.
So out of curiosity, I passed in front of a workshop, I felt the smell of ink.
Y de repente pasó mi infancia por delante y me vi a mí jugando con un montón de letras y un montón de recuerdos con la imprenta que yo no sabía ni que tenía.
So my whole childhood passed my eyes, and so many memories that I didn't know I had.
Cada vez que explico esto se me pone la piel de... Empezaron a salir un montón de nociones inesperadas. No sé si alguien de vosotros conoce este capítulo de la Magdalena de Marcel Proust, pero lo explica muy bien.
It was like in Marcel Proust, no, de Magdalena.
Entonces, viendo eso, decidí que el mejor modo de tener más veces esas sensaciones era montar mi propia imprenta. Así que monté mi primera imprenta para tener muchas magdalenas, para vivir muchas veces eso.
Pretty much explains for itself, but so I decided to have my own workshop so I could have all this experience again.
Mi primer taller era tenía apenas 8 metros cuadrados.
This is my first workshop, almost 8 square meters.
En el segundo multipliqué, el negocio creció un 200%.
The business grew 200%.
Tenía casi 20 metros cuadrados.
Almost 20 square meters.
En aquella época yo iba aprendiendo, yo no sabía nada de impresión, inglés es terrible y iba aprendiendo a base de prueba y error.
I knew very little about press, so I was learning by
Entonces se me ocurrió que aquel autor que siempre me había cautivado, que era Bergman,
I thought that this printer that I always felt so close to, Bergman,
también trabajaba con tipos móviles y que por lo tanto, tal vez, intentando copiar su obra, yo podía empezar a aprender a imprimir.
So I understood that Bergman also worked with movable type, and I thought, well, maybe by copying his work, I can start learning.
Así que empecé a imitarlo de un modo muy sencillo.
So I started imitating him in a very simple way.
Y empecé a aprender por mí mismo algunos sistemas de impresión, algunos métodos.
So I started learning some printing methods on my own.
La idea era simplemente aprender, pero cada vez que aprendía algo nuevo, necesitaba algún lugar donde ensayarlo.
So the idea was to learn new things, and whenever I was trying something new, I needed a place to rehearse it.
Así que se me ocurrió que si copiando a Bergman yo estaba aprendiendo, lo que haría era una especie de homenaje y haría como variaciones de la obra del propio autor.
So what I thought is I'm going to do variations on his work as a way to make an homage to him.
Finalmente acabé teniendo una pequeña colección de piezas de un tiraje muy corto y manual, de apenas 5 o 10 piezas cada una.
So I ended up having a collection of short runs of prints of 5 copies each.
Con el tiempo fui adquiriendo más material, mi taller, que es como un taller de pintor, fue creciendo.
So with time I gathered more printing material, so it became something.
Y me trasladé a un taller más grande.
And I moved into a bigger workshop.
Todo lo que hay en el taller tengo que hacérmelo yo, así que fue durante hace un año no pude imprimir.
So for more than a year, I was not able to print because I had to do everything on my own.
Y con el nuevo taller yo ya tenía muchas ganas de hacer un proyecto bastante más potente.
With the new workshop, I wanted to make a bigger project.
Así que me planteé, en colaboración con un compañero, hacer ya un trabajo un poco más serio, con formatos mayores y un tiraje de algunas copias, de unas 40 copias.
And with a colleague, I decided to make a more serious project and then make prints of a bigger format and longer runs, big copies.
En realidad, mi trabajo, yo me gano la vida dando clases, por lo tanto puedo estar muy poco en el taller.
So actually, my job, I pay my bills by teaching, so I cannot spend much time in the workshop.
Aún así, intento cada verano hacer un pequeño proyecto.
I try to make a project every summer.
El que vais a ver ahora es el último proyecto que creé. Es una crítica social alrededor de la mierda de política y la mierda de sociedad que tenemos en España.
So what I'm going to show you now is a social critic about the shitty political situation that we have in Spain.
A mí no me gustan demasiado las frases de autoayuda.
I don't really fancy self-help phrases.
Y prefiero trabajar a partir de referentes históricos y a partir de elementos que a mí me interesan.
I'd rather work with historical references and elements that I'm interested in.
En este último proyecto trabajé en colaboración con la Gerd Ann, con el Instituto de Gerd Ann.
I was working in collaboration with the Institute of Gerd Ann.
Y bueno, poco más. Este soy yo.
That's me.
Thank you.
So, next one on stage, yeah? And in the meanwhile, I get the chance to remind you all and we have been streamed. So just try to stay here. Yeah, you'll be fine. Here you go.
So that's me, I'm Julien, and I'm a printing addict, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'm gonna try to explain to you what I'm doing really here for the second time on the Letterpress workers. I guess it's all my mother's fault. It was a very long time ago. She offered me and my sister 20 seconds are very long. I think I'm
sorry, maybe.
yeah, that's
Because I saw before. Okay. And
yeah, that's it. And the one before was present to my mother, me and my sister, and we were just shooting until we were about 6. I totally forgot about that, but it was my favorite toy. Maybe it explains why 15 years later, when I was studying at the university in Berlin, I really went crazy about this letterpress stuff. So I was going to be an illustrator and graphic designer, but I spent all my studies just in the letterpress workshops and in the silk studio making stuff. So I became the tutor, the supervisor of the printing studio at my former school, and made a lot of projects with the students, workshops, posters, and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. I was still a student by the time, and I made a book. It was supposed to be a project with a student, and we managed to make the whole collection of the university for the bigger funds, but I ended up really making the whole book for the other funds by myself, except for maybe 2 sheets. So I guess at the time I really went crazy a bit in my head, because it's a lot of type, and you're gonna see there's a lot of setting. And yeah, fortunately, that was the time where there was another exchange student who asked me if she could be my trainee. I was like, hey, sure, why not? I don't have any money. Don't bother, we're gonna make some. So we tried. It didn't really work the way we wanted. For some reason, nobody sold us anything with that, but I guess we tried. By the time I got 30, and some people probably thought I had a diploma for graphic design and illustration, that I would have got some senses and being a graphic designer, but I'm more stubborn than a dead donkey, so I didn't, and I just made my stuff. And with three other friends, we founded an artist collective, Société Savante, and we say we are just archaeologists and scientists, and we invent stories and make some theories and print stuff. And we are showing it to people, and we managed to go in a few places. We've been making that like 6 years. It was one of my first print series, making kind of species classifications, 10 in German, 10 in French. So we went like that to Paris, in 2 different places, in Copenhagen, Berlin, 2 different places, in Geneva, and this summer we're going to Switzerland again. We invent stories. That is another of my series. Vanity Remains, some kind of satire about the Vanity Fair magazines, and they worked very well, and I made the whole 12 months like that. So at some point I decided I can't just print at the studio at the university. I needed my own studio, and with 2 friends we found a place, we tear all the things down, and we bring some new stuff. 2 printing machines for silk, 3 on paper, 1 on textile, and 1 as for proofpress for letterpress. We work mostly on our own works, piece of art, but we do sometimes make some projects. Like this one, we printed some kimonos. to raise some fundings for winter cafe for homeless people. Or we've been making some printing workshops in the streets on some occasions, also for the people. That's the kind of stuff we do. Otherwise, we are all three designers, but we are just printing our stuff actually. Then 2 years ago, I went to Leipzig because there was a printing contest, dances, so it was quite good for me, and it happened that I was very lucky. I won the prize, but most of all, I met Thomas Simon, and I formed in with him, and we decided it was a good idea together. No, my life is a complete mess. I have 2 houses, 3 workshops, but I'm completely happy, even I have no idea where is my toothbrush most of the time. And that's the last big exhibition I did in Leipzig when I decided to make a stop motion film out of lino cuts. It was a lot of fun, with a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And that's how I ended up in Letterpress Workers last year with you all, and I hope I'm coming back next year.
Next one on stage, Oficina Tipografica São Paulo. Here you are.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Marco. Could be Marco.
I'm Marcus, and my business partner is of Russia, and I've written some words. Dear colleagues, typographers, artists, it's a great satisfaction for us to have received this invitation to be here at Letterpress Workers. It's a unique opportunity for us to exchange experience to discuss new paths for typography language and especially to work together on something that reinvents itself every day, which is Letterpress. First, I'd like to thank Claudio Mandela for this invitation and thank everyone who's present here. Of Russia, my business partner at Oficina Tipográfica São Paulo was unfortunately not able to come today, but he's being represented by me and by the projects that I will present. So, let me tell you briefly about our story and point out some moments that somehow reflect on what we aim to develop with typography language and what we investigate when working with Letterpress. Oficina Tipográfica São Paulo was founded at the end of the 90s as a typography atelier to work experimentally with Letterpress. Russia and I both teach typography, and at the time we are working on personal projects that explore letter forms. We have always been somehow connected to manual printing process in graphics design. When I was at school, I had the chance to be in contact with engraving techniques such as lithography, metal engraving, woodcut, and some of their variations. I had a degree in fine arts and postgraduate degree in graphic design, but the fact that I needed to close to the matrices and that I needed my hands covered in paint was decisive for me to found a printing atelier. An experimental lab where I found the great and investigate that work with type and letter forms. That's how Oficina Tipográfica São Paulo was born. In the last 20 years, our work has become more diverse, but we have kept the essence of it, and that is to keep the typography memory alive in our country, to share this experience by offering workshops and to welcome artists to develop projects together. We have made many friends and work partners, and today we are 4 people working there: Claudio, Marcus, Gabriel Meda, and Leo P. Regarding typography language, I can say that our work has always been focused on experimentalism. In its techniques, create hybrid printing methods, sometimes incorporating engraving techniques as well. In recent years, I have been more focused on the investigation and the work with counterforms. I have restarted to sculpt matrices, and that is how I plan my prints. I draw, I work a little bit on digital, but at the end, it's all in my hands anyway. It's also important to say that when we work with Letterpress, we find out an amazing connection with other artists all around the world who also work exploring different ways of expressing typography language through Letterpress. And that is exactly why we are here today. I think we are walking toward the same thing. Where, after reinventing, signifying, and therefore resisting with language, this is the taste of every artist. Thanks for your time and this opportunity. I'm very glad we can be here together exchanging this.
Thank you again. Okay, next on the stage, Matthias, if you're around. Yes, you. Thank you.
Okay, so these are the 2 guys behind Tipus and Sutinta. I'm from Berlin, Germany. The other guy is Lars, he's from Berlin, Norway. We both are living on the Canary Islands for more than 10 years. So this is Tenerife, that's the Canary Islands, and so the question is, why would anybody do letterpress printing on a place like that? People could go to the beach or what else. I think we're really crazy about typography, we really like to play with it. And also it's nice in the computer world, and also on the other hand, that the analog world inspires us for we started looking around on Tenerife for some old letters in the print shops. We found some metal letters, wooden letters in the machine that you saw there before. We brought from Germany. We started learning by doing. This is one of our cards. So awarded in the Canadian Design Award in 2013, and also the name, Tipus and Sutinta. This is a project of 1,100 posters. We printed on the press, you can see up there on the right, in the print center in Santa Cruz. And the one on the left is modules we invented, so the people could send designs. This one is press that we made ourselves because it's quite difficult to get enough proof presses for the workshops on the Canary Islands. So it's made with a tube, or PVC tube, with concrete. Works quite well. This is some of the workshops we've been doing with design students on the college in Tenerife. Really like the results that are the people playing with the wood types. Basically, wood type, book type, short workshops. We also do workshops for kids. posters, and also we made some t-shirts with them. It's really fascinating how fast they get into letterpress and how fast they start experimenting with the letters. It's important that you don't have too many kids, because otherwise it gets crazy. In this workshop, we worked together with a writer. One part of the workshop was doing haikus, Japanese poems. The other part was visual interpretation of the haikus in our workshop. This one is a collaboration with a fashion designer in Tenerife. So these are one size fits all skirts, which have a center part printed in letterpress on both sides, so you can change them if you want. Since we are in Tenerife, where there's no like sun and the weather's on the beach, we started to print t-shirts also. And also we did some experiments with cushions. This one you can see there as part of the TV collection is playing with famous song. This one is our stand on the market where we like offering our products. It was focused on slow fashion and handmade products, so we fit it quite good in there with our products. This is we did a screening of the documental typeface of the Hamilton production. So for that we made a limited edition of posters playing around with the different typefaces. There's another project I always find it very funny, the ligature OE in the German cases. They remind me of the monsters from the early video games. So I did this interpretation, it's called Meta Invaders, referring to the video game Space Invaders. Okay, so this one is one typeface that really got my attention in our shop. The Graciosa Gris. It's a Spanish typeface made by a German who went to Spain, Carlico. I really liked it, so I decided to make a digital version of it. So I printed the best quality I could get with the letters we had. I redraw it in the computer, made a lot of changes so it worked out better in the computer, and also I created the letters that didn't exist to fit up the OpenType standard. This is the result. It's 4 typefaces. You can combine them and use them like multi-color typefaces. Okay, there's another project that made glass for Norway, for a fashion brand in Bergen. They are doing all the production in the barn. So we made gift cards for them, and also the cards. This one was we got to know the people from Type Together Congress in Valencia. And they saw business cards, so they wanted also some business cards. We didn't print them all on the machine that you see before, one by one. Had 2 colors, so it was 2,200 printings. Right now we have quite a lot more of type. Right now we don't have a big place where we can put it all. We are hoping that we can get soon a place from Santa Cruz. And we're interested looking for some bigger machines, like a proof press, 50 for 70. If anyone knows about someone who's having a proof press at a reasonable price, like we would be welcome. That's all. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot.
Next one, Stefan from Belgium.
There's an E missing. Hello, my name is Stefan. Make Step short. And I live in this very cozy place called Ghent. And it's in the heart of France in Belgium. And if you get the chance to go to Ghent, you never miss the opportunity to visit this museum called Miat. It's a museum with a plastic collection of printing material and wood type as well. Yes. This is a poster that my sister brought me. She got it from the Science Museum, I guess, and I was about 7 or so. Still hanging in my living room up to now, and I'm sure I got by this poster. Yes, I reckon every one of you is using a QWERTY keyboard, so this is your chance to type my name correctly. Because this accent on the E is just typed with the Option E and then followed by E. So there you go. It's my third time here, and I did mostly some posters that are text driven. And today was no exception because I did go with really marvellous other people, some marvellous stuff, also text driven. And this is a seasoned vision card. I've typeset with 2,000 characters, so you can see, you know, the typeset. This is another poster, a quote by T.S. Eliot, and mostly, not always, I mostly work in series. I'm that fascinated. This is another poster, a Shakespeare sonnet, and it does ring a bell to some of you. And I simply Google translated to several languages, and you've got a hilarious result on the other side. It's 20 seconds, it's too short. And I'm sure you know that bloke over there. Who's he? There you go. I did a poster a day after the terrorist attacks in Brussels, and replaced, you know, the Je suis by Charlie Dalla. And now and again, I go to this marvellous place in Antwerp, which is the largest private collection of presses and wood type, and I do the inventory of the wood type collection there. And that's an N, by the way. Next. Oh yes, I have a fetish love for letter forms, and therefore I went to Reading to study type design. And I got taught by Ewan Clayton, a marvellous chap, Jerry, of course. This is a typeface I did for, you know, a digital typeface, but it's intended for cutting wood, so that will be my Letterpress font. But it's still, you know, on my hard disk somewhere. This is another one with some open type trickery. I scanned the typewriter. I scanned several letters at each character, and I did some pseudo font out of it. This is a digital wood type font from a collection at the Miat Museum. Still on my hard drive as well, so it's not selling. It's And, oh yes, I teach typography in the Academy of Fine Arts in Kent, and as well as traditional typesetting and digital typesetting skills. I put lots of emphasis on no-nonsense typesetting. I think this is very important. And those students, after a while, come up with things like this. So I think it's from something very tangible to something very abstract. So really like this result here. I'm a big fan of British comedy, and certainly with these chaps involved here. And I'm a big fan of classic cartoons as well. Quimby is a fantastic producer of Tom and Jerry cartoons, so you can Google him up. How many people have cats here? So raise your hand. You recognise this, don't you? It's a really marvellous sensation when your cat suddenly gets on your lap and then wants to work with you. Edward Johnson, by the way. Oh yeah, one of the last questions in the Proust questionnaire was, what is your biggest fear? This is it. Thanks very much.
We have two more, right? Next one, Castar. Castar. So that's the final one? No, that's another one. Okay, so we have two left. But there are two. So we actually have three.
We are Sapal and Anne from Castar. We are both graphic designers and we met teaching graphic design. We decided to make our hands dirty and to smell some ink. So we collected some old presses. This is our studio. 4 years ago we started with Castar, the studio. We have 3 Heidelberg presses, printing presses, and 3 hand presses and 3 cooking presses. This is the studio. Well, now it's bigger than, no, it's not bigger, but we have more machines now. It's in Antwerp, in Belgium, and it once was a printing studio like 30 years ago.
So we met in graphic design, look at it. We noticed we had this common interest in typography and the old-fashioned way of printing, and started this first week online, tried to have the industrial sturdy machine, I took it apart and sold it because I couldn't really use it. Somehow started collecting all stuff we found online. There's really a lot to find. But just start collecting without even knowing how to. This is how we.
They asked us to give a big talk to thousands of people on a conference. We said yes, but we are not talkers. So we moved presses. So we moved a really big, huge press, printing press. And so we moved presses. That's our slogan. Motto. And then we asked the audience to tweet quotes from the talks on the stage. We printed those quotes on the spot. So that's a little bit the joke about printing digital stuff. So this is a tweet fast print slow poster we made before with the Twitter. And we made prints, the quotes on top of each other in blue and red, so you can you could see the each of the texts with the glasses. So this is the outcome of today's printing on the integrated conference in Antwerp.
So Thursday was blue and Friday was red, so we chose which one to do. Really interesting fun combinations. Like I told before, we had no education or how to sell this or these proving cases. We just better and better because we were like sharing Instagram. People saw we were doing these things. Interesting clients, let's say, yeah. That's good. So, of course, schools, we do a lot of workshops. People were asking us if we. It was really fun. It's really like to work with people. Also on your own, on the press, but also with people and share the knowledge.
The world famous UNESCO printing museum, Plante Moretus, asked us to promote them, and we transformed two bikes into printing bikes, the coping press and a hand press. So we went outside printing with a lot of people in the sun. Last year, with small kids and with elderly people, whatever, everybody came and printed their own poster or postcard on the spot where we were. We went to events and promote museum.
That was part one of the collaboration with the museum. The second part was we were asked as artists in residence in the museum shop. We got to dig into the old 16th century collection, and we could make all new stuff with this woodcut illustrations. So we tried to combine 16th century illustrations with first century, or we make really interesting stuff. Seed bags. Someone who made actually. And with this collection, we actually won our awards last month. So we went to Porto to pick up an award for something real paper still happening.
We also take our bikes outside to schools. This is a workshop we did with kids, and we try to teach kids to think differently about time. So we made those little, we call them the Olmo family, and we teach. Oh, sorry.
So we have this bike we made for what I made, so we go outside. So this is important. So we made parts of this the logo in there's date. We had a nice network in Antwerp. Designed to illustrate, but also with the city. The city is asking more and more to it's not just the corny, just stuff that's.
We try to use new techniques. This is a modular type system we designed ourselves with a laser cut. So this is a workshop we did, so people could make their own type out of our system.
And then with the laser cut, we also made these letters. Actually, this is for the logo of Downtown. Downtown is a shoe shop. They asked us to do a workshop on the team building. So we made these different letters from the identity, from the logo, and people could print their own. The identity of the town is actually very colorful. We try to combine more cultural stuff. We try to combine make prints accessible. Have fun.
So, last one, before we start, if I have time, just two things, then we end up with the presentation. Just would like to thank you all people for being here, and a few words from the Pechacucha 99. Thank to the Letterpress worker for having us here, and thank to Tia for fighting this personal fight with technology and eventually winning it. Almost. So, for the ones among you who are going to stay in Milan, we are going to be in Spirit of Milan next week. Just a little bit of advertising. For the next Pechacucha, we are going to speak about urban rituals, and now you know the format, so if you feel like joining us, we'll be there. Thank you again. Microphone to the last speaker, Edward. You are.
So this is where I'm from, the small red ball up there. It's Finland. Finnish people are famous for liking pork and being something. Maybe a lot of balances, but they'll only be 20 seconds long. So this is where it all started. I met some boat builders, and they seemed really, really happy with what they're doing. And I thought, I need to be that happy. And I needed to move away from a screen. I made this really realistic plan of how to do this. It's going to take 2 years. I was going to slowly meet people. And then reality struck. And somebody phoned after about 3 weeks and said, hey, we've got a print shop. You can have it for free. You just need to pick it up in the next 2 weeks. And this is my brother, who was really angry to that. I asked him, could you help me move some stuff? And he said, yeah, sure. And I said, yeah, it's really easy. And after one cabinet, he's still angry. And this is Heisenberg's human in a tree. And this is the garage which I put everything in. There were 2 windmills and the cylinder press. The cylinder press was 3.5 tons, I think. So at the top is the glorious mess, which was my workshop. And one step down is glorious mess, which is my workshop. Yeah. It fluctuates between chaos and the order. Oh yeah. And so I was introduced to a friend of a friend. Asked me, what do you do? And I said, well, I have a print shop and graphic design. What do you do? Yeah, well, I print and I design. Yeah, but what? And sure, actually. So this is some of the stuff I do, which most of the time I'm not sure what I'm doing. But this is cardboard on banners which are, yeah, and so it's transparent ink on rice paper. And here I was asked to print a poster for an exhibition. It's Illuminated Christmas. And I did, and they said, could you also put something in the exhibition? And I said, okay, yeah, I can do something. So I made a lamp, which coincidentally looks exactly like a poster. And sometimes I have people who come visit and print stuff. There's some guy, I think he's called Klaus. Okay, we're halfway. These are my neighbors. There are between 280 and 350 of them, depending how many have run away and how many sleep right now. And how many have lost. Oh, yeah, this is my house. Oh yeah, okay, so this isn't the wrong place, but anyway, the nice thing about not doing what you do is if you take pictures and then look at it, like a year later, you go, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. This is my first workshop. I invited a bunch of people to stuff on equipment which I was semi-sure. And last summer I thought, okay, so I should probably run a cafe at some point in my life. So I organized a cafe in my house, and It was an economic catastrophe, but it was really nice and good. Lots of people came, had cheap coffee, and an exhibition. And then, yes, I try and say yes as much as possible when people ask me if it's possible. So this is a street artist that said, hey, can I come and hang out? I said, yes, you can. There's not a lot of streets, they're gravel roads. There's not going to be much action. But he said, it's all right, I'll come, and he painted the native stickers. This is what I want to be doing. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with it. But this is what I like. People come to work, so this is a bookbinding workshop, printing workshop, vocabulary workshop. I think those toothbrushes are my sink. The dark corner. The good thing about living on an island is it's really boring things. Eat everything. Pretty close to putting your door and cycling. Sometimes things just is supposed to be fireworks, and it's supposed to register perfectly, and with my workshop 5 degrees more, I just have to fix it. So this is aqua. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, not letterpress at all. This is my first artist in residence with an acid bath made from a plastic bag. Yeah, just mix stuff up along the way and it work out. In the winters, I try and leave the island because it's cold and dark and green. And this is working in mainland Finland with a factory studio called Imoblack and mono prints which were stable. This is conceptual. This is the old part of my house where I had an exhibition. Yeah, the good thing about living in a place where nothing happens is if you do something, everyone can be really happy and come and see your exhibition. Oh, and that's the end already. Yeah, okay, thanks, that's it.
You. So now we can have dinner. I wanted to remind you that tomorrow morning in Prague Design facing Ugobaste Street, Mirna and Claudio will present their works. So you can get there and have a free breakfast and with presentation about Letterpress and many other design processes. So thank you for the dinner and see you next time. I'm sorry for all the technical problem and my appeal with the technology.